Welcome back to Generally Assembled, your favorite House Republican podcast. Jason Gottesman, joined by Chairman Jesse Topper.
It's good to be here.
So do appreciate you being on the podcast today.
I'm excited to be here. We haven't gotten to do one for a little while, and now here we are. We're back in the saddle.
Yeah, and
I was a little under the weather for a couple weeks. This, and I'm sure everybody can relate because every family, especially you got kids in the house going through it. But like some of this stuff just hangs on. Like even when you think you're over it, you just can't get rid of this garbage.
Yeah, I feel like a lot about that about my bad golf rounds.
Yeah, but then you hit that one shot,
man,
and you're like, I'm over it. Did you? Well, first of all, the weather's been nice. You played any?
I finally I got out to play. I've played 27 holes over the last few weeks. Got out for 9 holes a couple times, and just this last Sunday when it was really nice, I got out and finally started feeling myself. I shot a 38. It was nice for 9.
The swing's good. The swings are good. I got out. Josh and I went out a couple times, but the greens are just it's hard to putt right now.
It's still winter conditions.
Yeah,
and that's
at least that's the excuse I'm going to use probably through July.
Well, I hit a shot on Sunday, and it was. It's still your ball's still a little cold out, so the balls aren't going as far as they normally do in the summertime. Plus, the fairways aren't nearly as closely mown and everything, and it's a little wet, so you're losing a little bit of distance. And so I had a drive, and I had a little further than I normally would have into the hole. So I had I had a longer iron and a little blind shot down in this par 4, and I just flushed it. And I looked up, I saw where the ball was, and I did the Tiger Woods spin and walk. I didn't even think about doing it. But the shot was just that good where it just all naturally happened. And that ball, I mean, we're talking, 4 iron into a small green.
Oh, man.
Landed 5 feet from the hole and, of course, drained the putt for birdie. But it was just one of the first, super flush shot I've hit.
Well, and when you're flush, listen, for those of you who don't know golf, of all the clubs in the bag that are probably the most difficult to flush, a 4 iron is right up there. Because you're talking a long iron at that point.
Yep.
And when you're hitting that into a green, and you're getting it to 5 feet, that is an incredible golf shot.
Yeah. Then the next hole is a long par 3, and I hit my 5 wood to about 10 feet. It was over 200 yards. But then on the 9th hole, which is par 5, I had 87 yards in, so I had a 56-degree wedge in my hand. Put it to 25 feet. So
listen, it sounds to me like you're in a little bit of mid-season form.
Just finally got it put together. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
It is. It is actually here because I need to know this before we go out, whether I'm putting money on that day or not.
The first 2 rounds, not so much. But look, you can still see I got my golf blister that's starting to heal, and for the year I usually get one every year, and I just regrip my club, so it's something that comes more with when you have new grips. And but man, it's so nice that it's turning warm again.
Yeah, this is kind of a teaser. This is a teaser weather where my guess is we're still going to have that March or early April Pennsylvania winter blast.
I don't want the late March blizzard. I hate the late March.
But the one,
blizzards.
So we'll see. Let's hope it
snow's heavy and it's hard to move, and I don't want to shovel. My kid's not old enough. I can have him go out there and do it for me. But it's nice right now. You get to get out in the backyard, and he wants to be outside.
Yeah.
And
it's felt like spring has sprung. But again, I'm cautiously optimistic, kind of like we all are in Harrisburg these days.
About what?
Cautiously. We're cautiously optimistic that things will get better at some point.
There you go. All right. Yeah. At some future point down the road.
Some future point down the road.
Not quite seen
things
yet.
Things will get better.
But I think that's all for us to launch on. We're in the last week of budget hearings, and education, of which you're the committee chairman of, has been a major component of this. The budget, there's not a lot of details. But what we do know is that it spends more money than we're taking in. It spends down the surplus and is forecasted to spend down the rainy day fund, and will result in future tax increases unless something happens in the interim. And that's very dangerous. And what's even more dangerous is that the governor, when he's asked about it, seems to deny the numbers that are put out by his own administration about future budget forecasts. So you're led to believe that maybe at the end of this year there'll be some surplus left. But if you keep a rational, historically based growth number in mind, that the surplus, the reserves, and what we have are going to be spent down very quickly.
So there's only the one thing we know is the number that's been floated out. And I'll specifically talk about education, but of course we know there's all kinds of numbers in the budget. I mean, I think we're up to $48 billion or something around that. And keep in mind that back in, let's see, what was Rendell 3 governors ago when his term, the budget was at $15 billion, like at the beginning of the Rendell. Think about that now. Think about, and that goes to what you're saying, the growth patterns. Like the idea that somehow all of a sudden we're just going to start reining in spending.
Yeah, that we're going to keep the 2% growth is unrealistic.
It's just not realistic, and it should be, but it's not. And so let's talk the education numbers. The almost $900 billion, it's $897 million, almost $900 million, which is just for the adequacy piece. But if he's taking the basic education funding, the majority report, if he's taking that report like he says he is, that's every year. That increase every year, not just that much, then increases that much again and again for 7 years. And that's just the adequacy piece. That's just getting districts up to where the governor believes they should. That doesn't count the $200 million through the basic education formula. That doesn't count transportation, special ed, facilities, all the other things. So we're talking about education, which is a third of the budget. If just these numbers are projected out 7 years, it dwarfs half the budget because you're going to have to, two options. You either drastically cut other areas of the budget to meet it, or you vote on the most massive tax increase in the history of the Commonwealth. That's where it leads. Now, do I believe that education costs money? Of course. I've been here 11 years, never voted, every year voted to increase funding that I've voted on a budget. It's always gone up. We understand that there's cost to it. But you can't keep putting the money into the current structure and expecting a different result. Right. The structure needs to change. The policy surrounding the accountability of how those dollars are spent needs to change. So this is the real conversation that we've heard during appropriations. To our credit, our members and the staff on appropriations, they've been asking these policy questions. What are we going to do to measure change, measure success, to track dollars? And this is where the details go away. The details in terms of how much they want to spend, how much the governor wants to spend is there. But the details that surround the structure, whether we're talking basic ed or higher ed, that's what is lacking. And I think that's been revealed in these hearings.
Well, and I think one of the stars of the show, at least in terms of the news, outside of Jordan Harris's questions on conjugal visits to the Department of Corrections.
Oh, my goodness.
But was this PASHE and community college consolidation, to which nobody really had any answers for. And it was one of the centerpieces, this $1,000 a year plan by Governor Shapiro, lower the cost of in-state tuition, $1,000 for families making, under $70,000 a year, and to bring the community colleges into the PASHE system. That's sort of what it is, but nobody has any details. So it was one of these huge announcements that he got a ton of press on, and then when you start pushing the people who are supposed to be involved, they have no idea. I find that to be very strange.
And we found, today I thought one of the line of questioning, if folks can go back and watch John Lawrence asking the question, Representative Lawrence, the chancellor has not been invited to any of these task force groups that are currently going on. Has the governor lost faith in the chancellor? And it was the answer and the question back and forth was like, wow, like you could see the divide.
Right.
And look, I know I work with the chancellor. Everybody knows that we work together on some of the integration stuff with PASHE. I think he's a very hard worker. He's dedicated. But it is clear that this administration has a desire to go in a path that is different. And maybe some of that is from the change, the work that he's done. But it's just not. It's not. Because I said in my questioning, where are the legislators in the rooms? Where's the legislative staff? The people who are going to have to write and vote on this public policy when we want to make it law, they're not in the room. We're not in the room. It's not a way to get something done. And the governor has been in the General Assembly. The governor has been a county commissioner. The governor has been a statewide elected official. He should understand that in order for this to get done, legislators have to be in the room. The staff who are going to be writing have to be in the room, drafting. Otherwise, this doesn't get done. And it's a shame because there are some concepts here, like performance-based metrics, that are certainly worthwhile, but you got to get the execution right. You got to get the details right.
Yeah, which makes you wonder whether it's actually something that he hopes to get done, or it's just something that he hoped to get a couple of press hits out of.
No, and we don't know that.
Right, exactly.
But you will be judged ultimately by what gets done.
That's
in my
absolutely true.
opinion, that's what we as elected officials, when people look back on what we've accomplished, it's what have you either A, gotten done, or what have you stopped from having something being done that was bad. He's going to have some records on that resume, and right now he doesn't.
Well, hey, some of the most beautiful statues in the world never got built.
I've never heard that before.
I just made it up.
Okay, I was going to say, because I think
It's not
it
terrible.
actually went well. So my point was, some of the best work that we do is when we don't allow something to happen. But it seems like the statue reference is like the statue would have been beautiful if we would have built
No, but
it.
you're also saying you get known by what you do, by what gets accomplished.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, Leonardo isn't known for having a lot of great ideas, but none of them ever got done.
No, he's known for what he got done.
Right.
Yeah, he's not known for what he didn't paint.
Correct.
He was a painter.
Oh, and a sculptor and a scientist,
sculptor,
and
yeah.
I mean,
He did.
back
Renaissance
before
man.
Facebook, people did a lot of
Renaissance
stuff.
man, that's right. Before they had Instagram to scroll through for 45 minutes without even realizing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and all that while operating a vehicle.
Right, and didn't have two golf tours to watch. What is going on?
Look, here's what's going on. Anthony Kim is back.
Yeah.
Joaquin Neiman is on fire. John Rahm is still throwing darts. And we are in the period of the live ascendancy.
Yeah, and I think here's what the PGA Tour is making a critical mistake, and I'm going to compare it to the governor's budget address. They're making it all about the money. Oh, we're just going to pay our guy more. We're going to do more. We're going to have. Well, what they're doing is they're driving sponsors away. All right, here's the comparison. So we spend all this money, right? It looks good, but what happens? Well, you have to raise taxes. Eventually, people move out of Pennsylvania because they can't afford to live here. You have sponsors, longtime sponsors of these PGA Tour events that are like, hey, guys, we're out.
Like the Honda Classic,
yeah.
what was this last week?
Yeah, I didn't
like
even
Cognizant?
know. Like, what is this? I didn't even know it was the same tournament,
It wasn't
right? I didn't know we
Cognizant
were
of Cognizant.
So we're watching this and going,
It's a good one.
It was
Yeah, it was all
okay.
right.
It was all right. So you're watching this realizing that the PGA Tour, in an effort to compete, quote, financially, is still not keeping these players from jumping ship, and they're losing a lot of the core of what made the tour great. I don't like the direction that this is going. I really don't.
Well,
I think this is, and you're starting to see some players like Mackenzie Hughes come out and say, look, guys, this isn't, you're restructuring, basing this all on money. This tour can't survive if it's just about the money, because LIV will always have more money. I think the PGA Tour is having a bad year so far.
Well, and I'll tell you how far down the rabbit hole, how things have changed. So the biggest stories coming out of golf this week are Anthony Kim's being back, Joaquin Neiman being on fire, like I said before. He's going to the Masters. Some of the other LIV players aren't. The recent signings, John Rahm, et cetera, et cetera. What's the PGA Tour talking about this week? What was the tweet that I saw from Golf Channel this morning, which is the unofficial voice of the PGA Tour? What were they talking about? Should the PGA Tour stop sponsors exemptions for signature events?
Right. And that's after they had to go to another Monday finish because...
When you're that deep in the weeds, like, I don't know, we're having these signature events. Should we let people who really aren't as good as our top guys be in these events because we have sponsors? Like, one of the great things why I will still watch the PGA Tour is because of what we've seen over the last few weeks. You have Jake Knapp, Austin Eckroat, who won last week. These guys, these young guys, outside of this core group of golfers that we've come to know and love over the last 10, 15 years, are winning. And it's exciting. And you get to see their dreams come true and cry over their parents and grandparents who helped them get there. Nobody's crying at LIV.
No.
Well, I mean, they are. When they do, it's because they're so happy because they can wipe their tears with $100 bills.
Right. But you and I are diehard golf fans.
Yeah.
No professional sports. You can't have a professional sports association survive on only diehard fans. Right? We all know that. I mean, it's just look at when hockey struggles until they expand their base, right? Like you always have your diehard fans, but you can become a niche sport like rodeo or something like that because if you can't expand your fan base. And I worry. We saw this happen with NASCAR back when I was growing up. Remember when NASCAR kind of exploded? It got the quote casual fan, and everyone's watching races. But it wasn't sustainable. And then it went back to just the diehard auto guys. And guess what? They don't watch it anymore. And,
Right.
I just worry that that's what golf is going through right now, where they're about to become very much exclusively the diehards. And that's not going to help.
Well, but they'll always have the fact that golf is accessible. I can play golf. You can play golf.
Right.
Not everybody can go and drive a NASCAR vehicle.
Right.
Not everybody is going to go.
I think they call it a race car.
Oh, all right. Well, there's lots of different kinds of race cars. There's drag races and Formula One races.
It's just the way you said it.
Well, I don't know. I was trying
It's humorous.
to be as correct as possible.
We're keeping that.
Yeah,
Absolutely
NASCAR
keeping that.
vehicle.
Yeah, NASCAR vehicle. We're keeping that. All right, move on.
I so do appreciate that observation. Okay. So golf is always accessible. So you're always going to want to know, how do I compare to the pros?
Mm-hmm.
There will always be casual golf fans because there are casual golfers. The majors, the Ryder Cup, the President's Cup will always
Couple
continue
events,
to draw
you're
people in. But as a diehard fan, this week is the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Am I going to tune into it? Probably a little bit. Live Golf is also playing, but there's another PGA Tour event, the Puerto Rico Open. I'm more interested in seeing my boy Wesley Bryan, who I'm always cheering for, see if he can get back his PGA Tour status at the Puerto Rico Open than I am. I don't care who wins the Arnold Palmer Invitational this week. But I want to see how my boy does.
But you said it. You said there's the casual golf fan, and then you mentioned the majors, the Ryder Cup, right? What the casual, who will lose the casual fan? My point is the PGA Tour,
right? But
the
what I'm saying,
PGA Tour will lose that casual golf fan
we're
watching
not,
things
we're not
like
casual. We're not casual golf fans.
No, we're not. Well, they're not going to lose us.
But I'm so deep. I'm not. You can even ask me about it because I've lost sight of it.
But you're going to see that the casual golf fan move away from the PGA. They're still going to be into golf.
Yeah.
But will the PGA still be the attraction, or will it just be the big events, or will it be this Live upstart thing? I don't know. Because a year ago, I wouldn't have thought Live was going to be where it is now.
And we'll have to close on this, but I think here's what the test might be over the next few years. When you get off the golf course and you go into the restaurant at the golf course or the country club, are there more people who are interested in watching the golf on TV or the NBA or the NHL or Major League Baseball? What are golfers doing with
when
their
they're
spare
just
time?
watching?
What are they watching? Because if you lose the people who are playing the sport, the people who make this big deal about the USGA, about we need to roll the ball back, we need to do all or bifurcate or whatever. The consumers of golf, the people who play golf, the people who carry the golf industry, are not the pros; they're the players, the people, the amateurs who play golf recreationally. What are they watching? What are they doing? Have they lost interest? Because then you're going to start to lose the Tiger Woods people, the people who watch when Tiger Woods plays. You're going to lose the Ricky Fowler people, the people who come in to watch their players because they're big fans that week.
And that's a dangerous place for the game to be.
It is. It very much is. All right. Well, we got some sort of podcast in. We did it.
That was awesome. I think we get better every time. I really do. And can't wait to hear all the comments in the comments.
Or maybe one comment. All right, everybody. That's generally assembled for this week. You can catch this podcast where your favorite podcasts are found. www.pahousegop.com/mypodcasts. On YouTube, we're on Apple, and we're on Spotify, from my understanding as well. All right. Well, for Representative Topper, Chairman Topper, who we so do appreciate being on this podcast today, I'm Jason Gottesman, and we're out of here.